Hello, and welcome to The Voice of Business, the monthly radio show and podcast of the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce. I am Sarah Persing, the Membership Services Manager for the Gwinnett Chamber, and we are broadcasting from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio in the Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. Each month, we feature and highlight businesses and business leaders that are members of the Gwinnett Chamber. And this month, we're so excited to showcase some of our more recent Gwinnett Small Business Award winners. The Gwinnett Chamber Small Business Awards showcase those that dare to start, sustain, and succeed, and the community that supports them. They are the risk takers, the problem solvers, the dreamers, and the doers. And joining us today are Matt Hyatt with Rocket IT, the winner of our Culture Creator Award, Charmin Arefin from Arefin Law Office, the minority-owned, woman-owned award winner, and Jennifer DeLoach with Bexley DeLoach, the Support System Award winner. We're so excited to have you guys today, and congratulations again to you all. It's such a fantastic thing that you've won. It's such an honor too. We're so excited to be able to recognize you guys. You're all very worthy of the awards you've won, so congratulations. All right, we are going to get started with Matt Hyatt with Rocket IT. Hey, Matt, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me, Sarah.
Happy to have you, and congratulations again. So since I am our resident networker here with the Gwinnett Chamber, I want to do a little bit of our networking with you guys. So give us your best elevator pitch about your business.
Oh, wow, on the spot. All right. Rocket IT provides the IT strategy, support, and security that thriving businesses, municipalities, and nonprofit organizations need. So I'd say two characteristics that help an organization identify whether Rocket IT would be a good, for one, they tend to think strategically. They think in the future, but they might not have a full-time on-staff technology executive. The second is really simple. They're companies that care about people. That's certainly something we lead with. And we're attracted to other organizations that care about their people very much. And I'm sure we'll get into that some more, but that's a great way for companies to sort of identify whether they might be a good fit for Rocket IT.
Okay, we're going to move on to Charmin. Charmin, give us your best elevator pitch about your business.
Thank you for having me on today, Sarah.
Thank you for being here.
So my law firm I'm a solo practitioner, and I practice in consumer financial services defense, employment defense, and child welfare. So consumer financial services defense, people often ask me, what does that mean? And I represent banks, mortgage lenders, auto finance companies, dealerships in defending any litigation or kind of just counseling them in ways to avoid litigation, regulatory compliance. And then because that's all kind of paper and some interaction, the child welfare comes in because that's where my passion lies. I used to be a deputy attorney general in New Jersey, and I represented the state agency over there, which was called DIFAS, which is DFACS here. And so my passion is there. I provide guardian ad litem and parent attorney services for them as well. And then finally, I do employment defense.
We are going to go next to Jennifer with Bexley DeLoach. Jennifer, how about you give us your best elevator pitch about Bexley DeLoach? You guys are networking pros, though. You guys are used to this.
We are, Sarah. It's so good to see you. We love the Chamber of Commerce. We are basically a 3-lawyer firm in downtown Lawrenceville. We've been around since April of 2019. Started off with 2 lawyers. Now we have 3. And we pride ourselves on offering a variety of different practices areas of law. So I do primarily family law and estate planning. My partner Robert does primarily business law and trademarks. My partner Megan does primarily criminal defense. So we tend to have an office full of lots of different cases, and our best pitch is that no matter what your legal need is, whether you're starting a family or starting a business, whether you've been injured or whether you are playing defense, we are there for you. We're here to help you plan for the future, and we're here to help you clean up the past, depending on what your needs might be.
I like that, clean up the past. I like that. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, so Matt, circling back to you, Rocket IT won the Culture Creator Award, and there's a ton that can be said for culture and how culture plays into the longevity of your employees. So with that being said, tell us what winning the Culture Creator Award meant to you and your team over at Rocket IT.
Well, you know, it's an honor to be recognized by your friends and peers in the community. And so I think the initial reaction is just, wow, what an honor, you know, for the benefit of our listeners. We did this in a very large room in a sort of socially distanced way. So big group of people spread out in an oversized room. And when you're in a room like that, full of your peers and your neighbors, on the room, and you can see some of the community's most respected organizations sitting at tables nearby. And so to hear your name called out as a recognized organization, well, it's quite an honor to say the least. We, as I mentioned earlier, we're big on helping others be successful, and that certainly starts with our team. And so when we're working together, we're always trying to look out for the best interests of the other people that we work with, and it extends to our customers and our community too. So we're super grateful for the recognition and proud to be part of this community. It's awesome.
Okay, we're going to throw the same question over to Charmin because you won the Minority Owned, Woman Owned Award, which recognizes excellence and best business practices in companies that are owned by minorities and women. What did that mean to you as somebody who's very well-rounded and very well-read as you are, and very, you've got a good resume behind you. What did winning that award mean for you?
Kind of building on what Matt said, it was a huge honor. I was honored just to be selected as a finalist. When I got word, or when I went and heard my name, it was phenomenal, right? It's a great feeling. Also, I also do diversity and inclusion training and teach that to my clients. And so it was even a bigger honor to be recognized as a minority and a woman business owner. So it's indescribable, because this is what I strive to teach my clients to go for. And so for me to be recognized as that was a great honor.
I can only imagine. All right, and Jennifer, throwing the same question to you. With you guys winning the Support System Award, getting recognized for the support that you guys provide to small businesses in our community. I heard you say that Robert just cried. I just can't imagine that emotion. What did that mean for you guys?
It meant everything to us. Robert and I were actually talking that morning, and he was joking, and he said, we're kind of like Susan Lucci, so maybe it's our year, because we had been nominated last year and didn't win. And I said, I don't know, maybe, because everybody was so deserving. I just echo what everyone has said. You see your name on that list with those incredible people and those incredible companies, and that alone is a great feeling. This year, of course, has been interesting for everybody, and so Robert was playing it very safe and waiting results on a test. He's okay on COVID, but so he wasn't there. And so he asked me to call him. So the whole time our award was up, I had him on FaceTime with the camera facing the stage. So he was able to sort of be there. And I came back to my seat, and he was just crying on the camera. It was because he really started the firm in his bedroom, and so in his spare bedroom before I even came on. And so for us, it was huge to win any award in that company is great, but also to get a support system award, meaning that we are a valuable contributor to everything else going on in the room, that we're there for our community, and if the other businesses in that room need anything, we're there for them. So that was very meaningful to us.
And I just love that reaction. It's such a true, honest reaction. And a lot of us, at the chamber, we as employees, we get so attached to you guys and so invested in you guys that we cry. There's awards we win that, we'll text each other, I'm so excited, and we'll just look at each other and we'll be crying just because we're so excited, and especially this year. This has been such a year of adversity and pivoting. I know we've heard that word a million times, and adapting, that just to see people being recognized for the work that they are doing and the tireless days that they're having, we felt every emotion you guys were feeling too. So we loved it. Okay, we're going to swing back to Matt. Matt, Rocket IT intentionally invests in the development of its employees. So tell us kind of about the culture that you guys have created at Rocket IT, and what kind of development you guys are pouring into your employees.
Well, I think it's important to kind of dig in a little bit and understand why we were that way. I went through an exercise years ago when we were starting to grow the company and add people, to try and really understand what is the underlying reason that I get up out of bed every morning and come in and run Rocket IT. Running a business is hard. I bet Jennifer and Sherman know a little bit about that. And so why do we do that to ourselves? And for me, it really boiled down to as I thought through my past experiences, the times when I felt most successful were when I felt like I really made an impact in a positive way on another human. And so that ultimately became our driving purpose for Rocket IT, is to help others thrive. So come into the office every day and think with that hat on, through that lens of, all right, as I go through my day making the decisions and having the conversations that I do and the interactions with other people, am I really trying to help the person that I'm spending time with to be successful? And when you think that way, suddenly there are lots and lots of opportunities. One of the opportunities is to effectively balance support and challenge for the people around us. Sometimes what people need are a really good pat on the back and a job well done. Sometimes they need maybe a little bit of a kick in the pants to say, hey, maybe we ought to think about things differently. And for most of us, it's a little bit of both. I need both of those things too. And so when you start thinking that way and interacting that way with your employees, interacting that way with your clients, and really ultimately fighting for the highest possible good of the people around you, then really cool, fun things come out of that. And so to answer your specific question about some of the things we do, I mean, we do a lot. We do a ton of stuff for our team to help them thrive. As an example, something that we started doing a long time ago was that every single team member has a mentor in the business. So it might be their manager or one of their peers, but they meet with that mentor one-on-one every single week. And the whole purpose of that meeting is for the mentor to help the mentee be successful. And so there, we'll cover what are they focused on that week, what are the big projects that have their attention, and an important one, what are the roadblocks and hurdles that require support so that we can jump in and help when needed. So that's been a big thing. We also do leadership team meetings every week. We do an all-staff meeting every week to make sure every team member knows what's happening in the organization. We have a training budget available for every team member and goals for accomplishment and achievement throughout the year. And the list goes on and on. We do a lot of things, but that was sort of the ones that come to mind immediately when you ask that question.
We're going to shoot it over to Charmin. So Charmin, tell me a little bit about who you feel has been the most influential in your business journey. Because we all, whether it's personal or professional, we all have people that influence us in some way, shape, or form. So who is it that you initially think of when you think of who have been your biggest influences in your journey as a business owner?
So this is a really difficult question for me because I think I'm in a very unique situation where I'm very blessed. I have been surrounded by really supportive, encouraging attorneys, professionals, supervisors from when I started in the legal career. I've always had really good professional mentors and personal mentors. And so every time I had a question, I knew where I could go. And it's been great. As far as my business goes, I did speak to two very close people of mine, friends of mine, who own their own firms. And they both went from public service to owning their own firms. And so they were very supportive and encouraging and told me what I needed to research, what I needed to do, what I needed to have in place. All of that. And I say all of that to say that both of them are now back in public service. So they've left their firms, but they were great resources for me. And then the other thing, honestly speaking, is just my family. It's very difficult, right? To be a solo practitioner. It's very difficult to be out there having two small kids and a husband and having to network and work and do everything. And having that support system at home has just been my rock. It's been my base. I know that no matter what, it's there. I know no matter what I have to do, it's there. My husband has been extremely supportive. He's always said, listen, if you're not happy, do this. If you're not happy, do that. But he's a little laissez-faire. He's got a California attitude where I have my New Jersey attitude, and we balance each other in that sense. But, he's a don't worry, be happy type of person, where I'm a what do you mean? Like, we got to get this done, A, B, and C, we got to get structured. And so he balances me out and he keeps me grounded when it comes to my business, you know. And I think, as Jennifer knows, in the legal field, especially with litigation, it's an ebb and flow, right? And so it's not necessarily a steady workflow. And so when I'm freaking out, he centers me. And so he's probably the biggest influence. And then, you know, it's just, I am blessed to have professional female mentors that have been, you know, great resources in my life. And I'm in a blessed situation in that sense.
I love that. I can relate to you on the husband front, though, because mine is, we'll just get there when we get there. No, we will get there right now, and we will take this. Goodness gracious. I was early today, and Mike said, "Oh, you're early. We like that." I said, if I'm late, I'm in trouble, and I don't do being in trouble. So I feel you on that. Jennifer, tell us a little bit about how Bexley DeLoach supports the small business community. I know you gave us a little bit of background about what you guys do in your elevator pitch. Good job, by the way. But tell us about some specifics about how you guys support the community.
Absolutely. We work with a lot of small businesses, also a lot of nonprofits, and that is primarily Rob's job more than mine. But I can tell you, we have several nonprofits that keep us on yearly retainers, which we offer really reasonable price, and we cut that price in half for nonprofits. And what that involves is everything from soup to nuts, sort of from your operating agreement, getting incorporated with the state of Georgia, being your registered agent for service, and then advice here and there along the year. It doesn't include litigation representation. Like Sherman said, that can get really crazy really quick. But so as far as businesses, they can come to us if they have questions about how to organize when they're just getting started. Robert is a trademark expert, so he can help them get any logos, any trademarks registered that they need, give them advice about what will and won't work. We do a lot of contract work in our office too. During COVID, it was a lot of premises liability questions coming up from our clients. Our nonprofit clients range from tiny little organizations people are running out of their home to huge national corporations and different organizations. So we're just there to kind of help them with getting started, any liability questions that come up, how to best protect against liability situations. We don't do a lot of employment law, but we do a lot of just general public facing type questions. So we're the ones to come to if you have any questions about, you know, getting started. Should I be an S Corp? Should I be an LLC? Should I be a corporation? Do I need a shell company? Do I need a holding company? And so that's how we do the support there.
Well, and you guys also sponsor a show on Business RadioX to spotlight nonprofits, don't you?
We do. Yeah, we sponsor the show, and they do nonprofit guests here and there. And we've had a lot of our clients go there, and then we offer those guests, if they've been on the Business RadioX show, we offer them a discounted fee on legal services as well, consultation. So we are proud to be here in Gwinnett, and we want to support the business community as much as we can.
Well, Gwinnett is proud to have you guys. And that's a really good sponsorship to have, too, or a really good partnership to have with Business RadioX. So bravo to you guys.
The show is called Giving Back to Gwinnett.
Giving Back to Gwinnett. Everybody go look it up.
Plug.
Everybody go look it up. Subscribe. You should already be subscribing to Business RadioX Gwinnett anyway. So you just should be on your feed popping up. We're going to spin it back. Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's go back to Sharman. Sharman, what inspired you? I know we talked about who has been influential in your journey as being a business owner, but what inspired you to kind of begin your business? Like, what was that kind of like light bulb moment for you?
So I've been in business for about 3.5 years. So at the time, it was our 8-year-old son. I was a partner at a national firm, and I was the Atlanta office. I was basically it, and I was doing everything. I was running myself ragged. It was the summer where I had to have gallbladder surgery, and I was working from the hospital room. I had a client that actually said to me, "Sharman, you're putting us men to shame," because I was literally like on a conference call, working my magic on a settlement agreement, laying up in a hospital bed. And then during that time, my son, or our son, he would come into my office, whether it was a summer break, and he'd say, "Mommy, I'm going to stay up with you." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you don't have to do that." He's like, "No, we wake up and you make us breakfast, and then you go to work, and then you make us dinner, and then you go back to work, and we go to sleep and you go back to work. And so I want to stay up with you." And I was like, "All right, well, this is cute. Let's see how long this lasts." And he did it for 3 nights. He stayed up till 2 and 3 in the morning with me while I was working. He would bring me glasses of water, say, are you okay? What's going on? And then the third night, I just said, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not putting my family through this. I'm being an absent mother and probably also an absent wife, so I can't do it. And that was my moment where I said, let's figure out how I can make this work for me and my family and what I have to do to get it done. And now, there are people who don't like the phrase work-life balance, but it is what it is. You balance your work, you balance your life, you maintain what you can, and I get to pick and choose my clients. I don't have to work for everybody, just because. Now I get to pick and choose, and I also get to set my boundaries. My firm, Arefin Law Office, it's ALO, right, for my initials. And so ALO in Bangla means light. And so that's one of my mantras, is that I light the way for my clients. So our son at 8 years old made me this paper airplane. I don't know if you can see the ALO on it, but it has ALO and Arefin Law Office in the circle. And so he put it in my office and he said, Mommy, you're going to take off. ALO is going to take off. And so I don't remove it. It's it stays in my office, and it's a reminder that he was the reason. He was the reason I did it.
I love that. I'm going to cry over here, Charmin. It'll make me tear up. Let's go, Matt. Matt, same question. What inspired you to begin Rocket IT?
I wrestled with that question just a little bit because, I'm sure there are a lot of factors there. But I will say that growing up, I remember seeing my father work in a number of different jobs and even professions while I was growing up. And I don't think I really liked that, the constant change of, trying on those different things. So I remember riding the school bus when I was a kid, looking out the window, trying to decide what kind of business I might like to own someday. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to be in charge. At the time, I enjoyed photography and riding my bicycle, so I thought it might be a camera shop or, a bike store or something like that. In retrospect, I'm really glad it wasn't one of those things. But probably about 14 years old or so, I discovered computers, loved that. And so that kind of became my focus and my primary interest until I started the business back in 1995.
I got to ask, I've always been curious, where did the name Rocket IT come from?
The legal name of the company is Peak Computer Services, Inc., DBA Rocket IT. And so the company was born with the name Peak. And that came from the fact that I kind of grew up in the mountains for a little while, Western North Carolina. And so that's where that came from. But what I figured out pretty quickly is that nobody knows how to spell or say Peak. People would call up and I'd say, hey, Matt, I at Peak Computer Services. And they'd say, Pink Computer Services? No, Peak Computer Services. And they'd say, oh, like peekaboo? No, Peak. Like, we'd have this big conversation about the name of the company before we could actually get down to what it is that, they wanted to call about. So that was kind of fun. Back in 2004, we were growing. I'd hired some employees, and we had really shifted our focus towards what we call subscription services. So our clients pay a monthly fee that's roughly tied to the size of the complexity of their organization, and everything's included from an IT perspective in that subscription. And so the name Peak Computer Services probably didn't resonate very well with what we were doing at that time. And so I ended up hiring a marketing firm, I wrote a big check to get some help on trying to come up with a new name for the company. And I had read somewhere that companies that have memorable names have hard consonants in them. So, names like Coca-Cola, for example. And so I told the marketing company that I wanted a name with hard consonants in it. I also told them that I wanted a name that had the domain name was available. And I wanted a name where the logo and the name of the company and the domain name were all the same. And so they put together this list of about 50 different names. Most of them were terrible, but one of them said Rocket. And I got to thinking about that. And I thought, man, first of all, Rocket has the hard consonant in there. It's a short, easy to remember name. Most people, when they think about rockets, I think about NASA, that have a positive connotation, sort of a high-tech kind of thing. So it really resonated with me. And then the best of all, everybody can spell rocket, right? It turns out that's not the case, but that was the decision. And so the name Rocket IT was adopted rather in 2004. And what was funny is I remember getting our first little business cards that had the name Rocket IT on there, and I went to a networking event somewhere and handed over the business card, and the guy took it and he looked at it and he said, Rocket IT, I've heard of that before. And I was like, man, we named it yesterday, but that's awesome. I love it. It's a familiar enough word where a lot of people just think they've heard it before, but it's been really good for us. That the rebranding was 100% a great investment, and so many people have complimented us on the name, and I like it a lot.
Awesome. I love that story. I love that story. Okay, Jennifer, question to you. What inspired you and Robert, I guess, to begin or to start Bexley DeLoach?
Oh, I wish we were inspired together. He was inspired a while before I was. So we were actually doing business as the Bexley law firm. I say we, but it was him. I mean, he was doing it all, and he was a solo for quite a while. And I had known Rob for many years. And at the time, I was sort of on hiatus from practicing law. I had practiced in California. I moved back to Georgia and really did not feel like taking another bar exam at all. So I taught public schools for a little while, and Rob and I were having lunch with his then wife, who's a friend of mine, and he said, have you ever thought about going back to law? And I said, yeah, and I don't want to. So that was kind of our conversation. And over the course of the next 2 or 3 months, he didn't let it go. Like, he would just drop little texts like, hey, partner. And he wanted me to start thinking that way. And finally, he said, let's come over, let's talk about it. And by the end, he really had filled my head with, just really awesome ideas about this is a chance to kind of do it on your own terms, as opposed to working for a firm. And I was lucky to have really intelligent lawyers early in my career, but I was also the only female, the only person there under 60. It was a weird environment. And so I learned a lot, but this was a chance to kind of do it completely different. And I'd never run a business before. And he sort of said, only things that are hard are worth doing, And so
that's right.
I think that Robert Bexley inspired me, honestly, to start it. And so now we've got a great thing going. And I'm so glad that I was convinced to do it. But he sort of had to light the fire. And just the more I did it, the more I realized that I love practicing law when it's on my terms and when I'm getting to do it my way.
Okay, last question to you guys. And we'll stay with you, Jennifer. Since we're on you now, we'll stick with you. Okay, we're gonna do a little play on words here. Hindsight is 20/20. See what I did there?
Oh, hopefully foresight.
If you could go back in time, knowing everything that you know now, what piece of advice would you give yourself when you were just starting out?
Relax. Everybody else is faking it too.
Amen.
I think that's something I would tell myself. There's something called Imposter Syndrome that not a lot of people talk about, but we all feel it to some degree or another. And I think early in my career, I was measuring myself against attorneys around me who'd been practicing for 15, 20 years. And I would have given myself a little bit more grace, that everybody starts off, everybody screws up. That's how we learn. And the people that I admired the most, other lawyers, judges, people who knew their stuff, they probably stroll into work some days and feel like they're faking it too. And so that's the biggest piece of advice, to have more confidence, and just realize that there's going to be mistakes and missteps, but that doesn't make you unique. That makes you like everybody else. Don't be afraid to ask. Most people want to help you if you ask them and admit that you don't know something.
I love that. I'm a question asker too. I love that. Awesome advice. All right, Charmin, same question to you. What piece of advice would you give yourself just starting out?
Well, a lot of it is what Jennifer said. It's confidence, but it's faith, right? Have faith in yourself. Especially when you're starting out and you're opening up, it's a lot of trepidation, a lot of fear. Am I going to fail? Is this going to work? You don't know until you try, and you give it your all, put your 100% into it. And if you have to take a couple steps back, you'll take leaps and bounds forward eventually. And it's just having that faith that you're good enough and you can make it work and you can make it happen.
And Matt, round us out.
I'm super blessed. I've got a business that will be 26 years old next month. And so I've certainly walked through the shoes of sort of that beginner business owner, the solopreneur. I did that for years. So I certainly get those things. And I think if I could go back and talk to that young guy that started the business, I think I'd tell him, hey, you know what? It's going to be a lot harder than you think. It's going to take a lot longer than you think. And it's going to be way better than you think. I think all three of those things. Early on in the first, I say the early, the first 10 or 15 years, pretty tough, right? It's hard. It's hard to do all the things. And you've got to be the salesperson, you've got to be the finance person, you've got to be the marketing person, the networker. You also probably have to be really good at your craft and find time to do all of that. And then many of us, I think Sharman pointed this out, are trying to do that while also raising a family. That's a lot for anybody. But boy, if you can make it through that, it can be way better than you ever expected. I don't really remember when I was riding the school bus as a kid what I thought the end game would look like, or what I thought the business might look like someday. But I think I probably would have thought that it would be bigger than it is, and I probably wouldn't have imagined how good it is. And I look back at the last 20-something years, and the number of people that we have impacted in a positive way is just incredible. I mean, we've had clients go on to just building bigger and better businesses over time, and we've got employees that have grown up in our organization, or others or started their own businesses. We have several times per year that somebody will reach out from our distant past and talk about something that they did with Rocket IT that impacted them in a way that we had no idea about, but it happens regularly. I read something a while back I'll share with you. I hope I don't botch this quote. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 10 years. And that has been sort of the theme of my life, I think. A lot of things take a lot longer than I thought they would, but boy, over a long period of time, you can accomplish an extraordinary amount. And we've been fortunate to experience that.
You guys are so great. I just want to be y'all to follow me around and be like my hype crew every single day. Can we alternate? Can we get on a schedule or send me voice
Absolutely.
recordings or something? Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. Again, our guests today were Matt Hyatt with Rocket IT, Sharman Arefin with Arefin Law Office, and Jennifer DeLoach with Bexley DeLoach. This has been the Gwinnett Chambers radio show and podcast, The Voice of Business on Business RadioX. You can enjoy any of our episodes anytime by visiting businessradiox.com, selecting the Gwinnett Studio, and then clicking on The Voice of Business. Until next time, I'm Sarah Persing, and you've been listening to The Voice of Business on Business RadioX.